Welcome to the Insight Thru Experience Podcast. Podcast created to provide information about what life is like inside the most specialized special tactics organization in the U.S. Air Force. In these episodes, we'll be bringing you the experiences from many of our experts, ranging from our human performance optimization staff, our combat mission supporters, as well as our special warfare operators. Our main objective with these podcasts are to provide the listener with a unique look inside our culture of excellence in hopes that you will make the 724 a future career goal. Now sit back, relax, take some notes, prepare to hear from some of the Air Force's finest. Thank you for joining us on the Insight Thru Experience Podcast.
All right, welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I had a creative idea before we conducted our operator selection in December. And the idea was, hey, what if I picked about 10 of the candidates, stuck a GoPro and a list of questions down in one of the hotel conference rooms, and before they went to bed at the end of the night, which is usually around midnight, they'd have to go in individually and record themselves answering these 6 questions. The whole intent being try to capture what their thoughts are, what their experiences are as they're moving through the process, what emotions are they feeling, what stress is weighing on them, what stress isn't weighing on them at the time, and just getting their overall perception of how the process is going for them. And as I listen to these 5 days of videos, it really captures the process well, coming from their eyes, their experiences. It's exactly what we're looking for. And I think it's valuable not only to people that are listening that are going to come up in the future, but also maybe guys who are about to enter the aspect war pipeline, folks who are just dealing with stressful situations in daily life. You can hear how these warriors are freaking experiencing the stresses that we're applying to them on a daily fashion, and how they are mentally coping and also performing and trying to find the best version of themselves during the process. Now, what should you as a listener do with these podcasts? Some things that come to my mind initially as we start this is, if I'm listening to this and I'm about to come up, obviously I would just be listening and taking notes, because one of the questions is going to be, how'd you perform today? What did you do well? What do you need to improve upon for tomorrow? And listening to what they need to improve upon by balancing what they experienced that day. Huge benefit. You guys are getting to fast forward into the moment that you haven't experienced yet, and listening to 9 or 10 guys describe their experience and how they need to improve the next day. And then another question is, if you could go back in time and prepare for what you did today, what would you do and why? What a valuable question to hear guys who are experiencing the process in the moment now take that experience and reach back in time and say, I should have done this a little bit better, or what I did was, just right for what we did today. An example of, you're going to hear guys say, we did the operator combine today, and I followed the 724 STG workout that's on the website, and I performed really well today, so that prepared me well. That's just one example, but something that you can take away from this episode. Now, when we talk about the guys that are doing this, I think there's 9 guys that we're going to hear from. We had 10, but one of the guys self-eliminated. He had hurt his knee. He knows who he is, and I just want to say, if you're listening to this, thank you for participating in this, and I hope the knee's doing better. But if you listen to these guys, you can hear there's just a wide gamut of personalities coming in to do this interview. So if you're an introvert who has a hard time coming out of your shell, especially up front when you get into a new group, man, we've got guys describing their experiences for you who are just like that. If you're an officer, we have 2 officers, Charlie 1-1 and Charlie 4-1, that can explain what they're going through as these days are progressing. What's levied on them? How are they balancing the duties and responsibilities with also having to perform individually as well? We got that for you. We have PJs, we have controllers, we have TAC-Ps, and we have officers. And by the way, we also have some guys who came up to selection who are still at STTS. And for the outside people that don't know what that means they are still in the training pipeline. They're at the final stage of it before they go to their first unit. And we brought 6 of those guys up. 5 enlisted, 1 officer. And I'm telling you, folks, they performed extremely well. So you're getting to hear from, I think it's 2 of those Charlie 4-1, and one of the enlisted guys. I can't remember his number right now. So that's going to be entertaining. So we have the entire mix for you. Now, how did I choose these people? I did it randomly up front, but I couldn't be happier with the performance and what we got out of this episode. So I'm going to go ahead and stop here being long-winded. I hope y'all get something out of this episode. This is not curated. This is not anybody sitting in the room telling them what to say. This is them alone with their thoughts answering 6 questions. And also, they weren't performing. I didn't go through and do a lot of editing, so this is going to be pretty raw. This is dudes sitting down in front of a camera at the end of a long day when they're tired, trying to relay their experiences for your benefit. So let's hear from the candidates. They are answering these 6 questions, talking about day number 1 of operator assessment and selection.
All right, Charlie 1-1 question. How would you describe your experience you had today? I think overall it was a positive experience. I think there was a lot of, administrative stuff that had to be taken care of as far as, certain testing and things of that nature that got us started. And we started to dip our toe into, public presentation, communication, interpersonal effectiveness, getting to know the team to a certain extent, and seeing how people tolerate some stress when there's a lot of folks in the room. And then, the combine happened today as well. So I think overall pretty solid start. Nothing too crazy or cosmic. I think the next question, how did you perform today? What did you do well? How do you need to improve upon? What do you need to improve upon for tomorrow? I think I performed pretty well today. I tried to contribute and participate during the events, especially like the indoctrination style and the learning, just asking questions, staying engaged. And that hopefully was a place from a genuine place. Just I don't know a lot about the organization. And so learning, even just the basic stuff was fun for me today. I think I also did well on certain combine events. I surprised myself on a few things, and then I wish I had some back as well, but set some personal records. For the record, I did the 724 assessment prep program on the website. And so a lot of what I saw today was a lot of what they had scheduled, and we'll talk about it later in a future question. But I was surprised myself on like the deadlift, although the number's not nearly as high as some of the other dudes. Proud of myself there. I wish I had it back to do more. But then, certain events I was pleased with all around. For tomorrow, I think it's just staying engaged on the task. The time is starting to get short. And so I think the communication needs to ramp up with a little more direction, potentially control. Today was just, getting inundated water hose information. And I think tomorrow we're going to kind of fall into the battle rhythm a little more potentially. And so just expectations for whether it's basic things like accountability, in and out of doors, just collecting assignments, reminding people in the group chat, on timelines and things like that. So just getting a little more battle rhythm, I think I need to do. That's the feedback I got today, is just stay connected to the battle rhythm. So that way there's just a heartbeat to how we move and communicate. If I could go back in time, next question is if I could go back in time and prepare for what I did today, what would you do and why? I think for like the testing and the indoc stuff, there's nothing really I'd change. Happy to ask the questions to just get the information. And then as far as the physical prep for the combine, so far I think the 724 prep program has been, it served me well today, I think. Again, several PRs on some stuff, and I felt strong. I felt like I was putting up numbers that were, respectable, and I surprised myself on some stuff, and I think they were pretty comparable to the other candidates, at least from what I could see, but I honestly didn't see a whole lot. But I think overall they were pretty good. But just staying focused on the fitness and making sure that I'm dialed in there. Next question, what's adding the most stress to you so far in the process, and how are you dealing with it? I think the timeline's starting to get short, and so figuring out left and right of when to be a 1-1, when to be a 1, when to be an officer, because there's a lot of the priorities of work where we're not dictating necessarily what people are doing with their time. So the control piece is not there, which is totally fine, but there's also just kind of exploring the limits with the dudes and seeing where they need me to step in and kind of assign troop to task or lay out priorities or voice thoughts and opinions, and where, the big boy rules apply and it's everybody kind of doing their own thing. Personal priorities of work are taking priority there. So the timeline getting short is adding stress, and just managing time right now, and then dealing with the stress on the back end of being sleep deprived tomorrow is going to be interesting. And I think everybody's dealing with that. That's kind of part A of question 5 is, are other candidates dealing with the same stress? Yeah, everybody's tired right now. Nobody's sleeping quite yet, and we're all in it to win it now. It's just question 6 is who performed well today, call sign only, and what did they do that stood out to you? So I think a couple guys, Charlie 2-4, I think he just carried himself super well today. When he spoke, it was confident, it was concise, he knew what he wanted to talk about. Good active listener too, just talking to him on the side, like a guy that's interested in being here, interested to get to know people. And then for the few physical events that, I got a grasp on how others were doing, I think he crushed a few. He just did really well. And the same goes for, I think it's Charlie 3-2. Very well spoken, contributed to the team and just the learning and classroom environment. So he was an active participant. Somebody I talked to on the side again as well. It's really, motivated to be here. And then, he was putting out hard today in the combine. Saw him on the C2 bike, just giving it hell. So I thought he was a stud today. Wraps it up for the questions.
Charlie 1-2. First question, how would you describe the experience you had today? I would describe it as being very professional. It was intense. I know the cadre here are very passionate about what they do and who they recruit. So that's what made it intense. I guess the passion in your voices bled over to all the candidates, and we all noticed it. How did you perform today? What did you do well? What do you need to improve upon for tomorrow? I think I performed pretty good. I wouldn't, if I was rating it on a 1 to 5, I would say a 4. I think I did well on the combine. I put out as hard as I could on that, and I think it showed because I got a lot of compliments on how hard I worked at that. Also, the way that I've been troop leading, I got a lot of comments. We did a little feedback session on my ability to have accountability, looking out for the guys, and really that's what I want to do with my time here is make sure everybody's prepared. And then what do you need to do to improve for tomorrow? I think I can improve on speaking up more, public speaking skills. I think I lack in that, so it's the ability to communicate my thoughts without stumbling on my words. If you could go back in time and prepare for what you did today, what would you do and why? I would have looked at the attributes a little harder and really deep dove them and understand them a little bit better. I did work with my psych doc on another part. I did work with my psych doc prior to coming here. I got a lot of tips on how to control my stress management, and communicate well. I've been working on those and I have gotten better, but I think I can continue to work on those and really enhance my communication by learning how to control my internal stress and my nerves. What's adding the most stress to you so far in this process, and how are you dealing with it? I think it's that public speaking, being put on the spot in front of the whole group. Words come hard to me, so being able to quickly and concisely formulate a respectable answer, one that resonates with the instructors and one that resonates with the students. And are other candidates dealing with the same stressors or something different? I think all of us are dealing with relatively the same stressors. Who performed well today? Call sign only. And what did they do that stood out to you? I'd say Charlie 2-4 really stood out to me today during the combine. He was an absolute animal. He crushed every event that I saw him do. And I think that speaks on his drive because even in the team and internal settings, he's very well spoken, and he's been injecting information at the right times. It's not too much, it's not too little. I've got really nothing negative to say about him. Thanks.
All right, good evening. Call sign is Charlie13. First question is, how would you describe the experience you had today? I would say the experience that I had today was eye-opening because it was interesting to see. Like, I thought I knew, what I was coming into, and then it was completely different, and it kind of threw me for a loop, and I had to do really quick adjustments on the fly to make sure that I'm, doing the right things and, moving at the right speed and kind of meshing well with the team. All in all, I think it was a good experience for me because it kind of put me out of my comfort zone a little bit. How did I perform today? What did you do well? What do you need to improve on for tomorrow? I think today I performed well, kind of interpersonal effectiveness, kind of getting in with the team and getting to know everyone. I think performance-wise, I think I did well physically. I, went to the physical events today and just kind of went as hard as I could and tried not to leave any regrets out there on the field. What I need to improve on for tomorrow is I need to be a little bit more, less of a gray man. I need to come out of my shell a little bit more. And then I need to speak up a little bit more and kind of give some of my experience from my, 15 years in the military, 16 years in the military, and kind of share those experiences and kind of step up as a leader a little bit more. All right, next question is, if you could go back in time and prepare for what you did today, what would you do and why? I would say I would probably adjust my physical fitness regimen a little bit, and I would probably add a little bit more work capacity and a little bit more sled pushes and just a little bit more grip work. I think that would have helped me a little bit more today. So next question, what's adding the most stress to you so far in the process? How are you dealing with it? Are there other candidates dealing with the same stress or something different? So for me, the stress so far in the process, I would say is trying to keep my nerves calm and be less of a gray man. I need to come out of my shell a lot quicker, and how I'm dealing with it is kind of just realizing what I have on my plate in front of me and realizing that, hey, this is a job interview and I need to put my best foot forward. And I just really need to step it up with, coming out of my shell and speaking up more. I think there's some other candidates dealing with the same stress. I've kind of seen a few gray men in my team alone today, so it's probably about 4 other candidates, and I've already given them feedback, telling them that their, ideas are relevant and that they need to come out of their shell a little bit more. 6th question. So who performed well today, call sign only, and what did they do that stood out to me? I would say Charlie11 and Charlie12 performed well today. They're both stepping up into those leadership positions. I think they, looked out for the team. They gave good direction. They maintained accountability. So they're off to a good start, kind of doing the things that they need to do. But it's up to me and the rest of the teammates to make sure that they're still aligning to doing the right things, so we can look out for each other as a team. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Charlie25, how would I describe the experience I had today? Day one, pretty fun. Challenging physically, but nothing crazy. Really getting to know my teammates. That was actually really cool. Getting to see their backgrounds and the reasons for being here. How did I perform today? What did I do well? What do I need to improve upon for tomorrow? So how did I perform today? I think overall I would place myself about middle of the pack. Things I did well. I will say I think I had the best farmer's carry in the combine. Improving upon for tomorrow, and for me, I guess the rest of the week is going to have to be my communication skills, projecting, being confident, using the volume of my voice to display confidence when I'm briefing is going to help me a lot. If I could go back in time and prepare for what I did today, what would I do and why? If I could go back in time, prepare for what I did today, I would most likely get more reps public speaking, briefing, whether it's just other guys at my unit, people at home. And I would just do that to be more comfortable. I feel like that's my biggest weakness in my communication skills. What's adding the most stress to me so far in the process? How am I dealing with it? I think the thing adding most stress for me is just the unknown of what's coming next. I've already got so many things to deal with, and it's just going to keep piling up. I'm going to deal with that by just staying focused on the moment, dealing with my 1 meter, 5 meter, 10 meter targets, and just let the course come. Are other candidates dealing with the same stress or something different? I think a lot of people are dealing with this similar stress, as well as maybe worrying about things that they messed up today or weaknesses that they felt today. Who performed well today, call sign only, and what did they do that stood out to me? I think Charlie 1-1 really performed well. Obviously, he's the class lead as of right now, and he seemed like he got maybe a nagging injury during the combine, but he battled through it, showed a lot of drive, and he's been doing a really great job of kind of using his communication and interpersonal effectiveness to run our half of the team that is here.
All right, Charlie, 3-2. How would you describe the experience you had today? I'd say remarkable. It felt more like a privilege than it did like a selection, like the best team building course of all time. Question 3, how did you perform today? What did you do well? What do you need to improve upon for tomorrow? I think that I did a really good job at communicating with the team, keeping us on track, organizing timelines. There's certain situations today where I was able to set a standard for the team and set good habits for us that I think will give us success in the future. And that was a really good opportunity for me to shine. I was really thankful for that opportunity. Tomorrow, I definitely will probably be a little sleep deprived, especially because I'm coming from England. So I just want to make sure I carry that momentum into tomorrow. I want to make sure that I'm coming in the same passion that I had today, and that I remember my calling to do this for the glory of God. Question 4 reads, if you could go back in time and prepare for what you did today, what would you do and why? I definitely think that if I had more time, I'd probably just spend some more time on the assault bike, but I definitely went as hard as I could. My time was okay, but it can always be better. Probably also a vertical jump. That was something that I think I could have done better as well. And question 5 reads, what's adding the most stress to you so far in the process? How are you dealing with it? So it also reads, are other candidates dealing with the same stress or something different? I think the biggest stressor for me is just being around a group of guys that I have never worked with before. I'm sure that everyone feels the same way, but I think you can look at it as a stressor. You can look at it as a great opportunity just to get to know some different people and to see different opinions and to just see some of the most motivated guys in the Air Force. Question 6 reads, who performed well today? Call sign only. And what did they do that stood out to you? Okay, so the easy answer is just to say Charlie 1-1, Charlie 1-2 did good because they're the higher ups and they've got a lot on their shoulders. But just to kick it towards my individual group, I think I've been impressed with Charlie 3-5 most of the whole time. I can tell that he's just really motivated. I think that he's got a lot of reasons why he wants to be here. And I think he physically performed very well today. So that's what I would say to answer question 6. And thanks for the opportunity.
Charlie through 3. How would you describe the experience you had today? Experience I had today was very organized, professional, and everything was deliberate. Fast-paced, but deliberate. How did you perform today? I think I performed somewhere around average at the combine. And then as far as briefing, I think I let stress tolerance get the best of me, the lack of stress tolerance get the best of me in that example. So, what did you do well? Not that the number was great, but I did far better than I expected on the Echo bike. First time I've had to lean into my why, but I think I did well on that. What do you need to improve upon for tomorrow? Definitely stress tolerance and being able to be aware of and control my emotions when briefing or presenting. If you could go back in time and prepare for what you did today, what would you do and why? Physically, I would spend some more time the 300-meter shuttle, trying to build work capacity in that area and building up that cardiovascular endurance. And then as far as communication and stress tolerance, I think more stress tolerance, practice briefing in an ad hoc fashion where I don't have time to rehearse the information. Because when you are in a group and you have to focus on others' briefing, it's important to give them your full attention and not be internally rehearsing what you are to say. What's adding the most stress to you so far in the process? What's adding the most stress, I believe, is there's a lot of tasks being given out, a lot of individual assignments and group assignments, and it's on you to prioritize to accomplish your priorities at work and still maintain yourself. How am I dealing with it? Trying to use every available minute I have, whether I'm on the bus, going to the compound, writing down notes on my phone, RFIs to look up later, trying to organize what I need to do when. Are other candidates dealing with the same stress or something different? I think most candidates are dealing with a similar stress, that along with post day one, post the combine, a little bit of physical fatigue setting in, but nothing crazy. Who performed well today? Call sign only. And what did they do that stood out to you? I don't have an individual call sign to give you. What I do have is I think the group of men coming straight from the STTES, from the straight out of the pipeline, I think they all performed exceptionally well, much better than I thought they would have. It takes a lot of courage to come here as new as they are to not only the career field but the Air Force and put their all out there against men who have been operating for a long time, definitely longer than they have. That's it.
Charlie 4-3, how would you describe the experience you had today? I would say today went a lot better than I thought it would. Coming into it, I didn't get I really didn't get any sleep. Had a hard time eating, and then kind of once I got the introduction, my introduction out of the way, everything kind of subsided, the nerves calmed down, and I was kind of able to feel more and be more like myself, I think, which helped tremendously as I moved throughout the day, like starting to interact more with my team, getting to know people, and then performing the other events. Next question, how did you perform today? What did you do well? What do you need to improve upon tomorrow? I feel like I did pretty well today. A lot better than I thought I would, just like what I previously mentioned with the nerves and everything. I feel like I was able to kind of recover and rebound from that well. One thing I didn't do well was the assault bike, and Mr. Free rightfully called me out not putting forth my best effort and trying to game it, which I totally was. And so I need to just be aware of that in those moments. So that's going to be something I'm going to work to improve on, to kind of be focused on the task at hand and not trying to game it, just knowing that what I need to do is my best and what they're looking for is 100% effort. If you could go back in time and prepare for what you did today, what would you do and why? First and foremost, I would have hopefully been able to get a little bit more sleep going into it and get some food. I think one thing that probably would have helped me would be coming in on Sunday versus getting in on Monday right before things kind of started, just to give me a little bit more time to kind of settle down and get acclimated with the team and get myself more prepared. That, and then probably some more exposure to public speaking. That's one of the things I didn't really work on coming into this. Just having a little bit more experience talking in front of a group, I think, will help me through this process and life in general. Next question: what's adding the most stress to you so far in the process? How are you dealing with it? And then follow-on question: are any other candidates dealing with the same stress or something different? I think the biggest stress so far, like moving in to the process, would be the nerves and then the lack of sleep. They haven't really cranked the heat on too much on us yet, so I know it's only going to get worse. It's only going to continue to compile. That was kind of the biggest stressor so far, would be a lack of sleep, not really being able to eat a whole lot or what I'm used to, like sleep and eat cycles kind of jacked up. And then kind of started happening today as they kind of added more tasks on us, kind of the whole, lots to do and not a whole lot of time, or very, very little time to do anything kind of but those tasks. And then with talking with all of the other candidates, we're all facing a lot of similar issues. I know a lot of guys had trouble sleeping and can't really eat a whole lot, or nervous and all of that, so that helped me a lot, just kind of seeing that we're all kind of similar, we're all going through the same things, and that's why kind of getting to know people and talking is important, because you kind of realize that it's not just about you and what you're feeling. This process is designed to elicit certain responses and stimuli, and like we're all kind of experiencing those together, which I think is a really cool thing. Who performed well today, and what did they do that stood out to you? Kind of thinking about this before I came in. The candidate that sticks out to me is Charlie 3-2. Never really had a whole lot of interactions with PJs, but he just really seems like a dude that I can look up to and that I could gain a lot from, even though we have different career fields and stuff like that. What really stood up is kind of like the leadership that he's taken. Like, he's not, I wouldn't say he's the most physically fit dude. Obviously, he's a stud for being here, but like he makes up for a lot of things with how he handles himself, how he interacts with everyone. He's very team oriented, like always asking how we're doing, if we need anything, trying to get to know us. And then just for me personally, one thing that really stood out to me was that he, like he mentioned, his faith in giving his introduction and why he's here, and multiple times throughout the day. I was really encouraging to me as a fellow like man of faith. I've not really experienced many others in the military, so being at an organization like this, going through a process like this, and seeing other people that value that was really, really encouraging, and that stood out to me in a positive way.
All right, so I am Charlie 45, and the experience I had today, if I could sum it up in one word, it'd be professional. It's pretty astonishing how professional the selection process already appears to be from the very beginning, which is encouraging, and it really makes it feel like this is a place worth being, and even if you're going to look at it as a development course, one worth going to and one giving your best shot. As far as how I performed today, I think I did well today. I was pleased with my performance on our fitness assessment. Of course, there are some things I wish I had done better. I probably wish I had paced a little bit less and pushed a little bit harder on one or two of the events, but that was simply, I just ran out of time before I thought I would. And I thought I had longer to go and wanted to get the most out of myself. So that wasn't really an effort issue for me per se. It was more of a, kind of time awareness issue. As far as what I need to improve tomorrow, I would say one of the things I've been working on a lot, at least in my personal life and with my team back at my line unit, is working to be an active problem solver with the team and participating in offering my suggestions and input. Even though I am, one of the lower ranking individuals at this selection, it is definitely important that I put in my input, especially if I have something useful to say. And that is one of my main focuses coming here, one of my main goals, and one of my main goals to tackle while I'm here at this selection process. If I could go back in time and prepare for what I did today, I think I did the right thing, actually. And the last 4 to 6 weeks have been pretty much nonstop going at my unit, TD wise, exercise. There wasn't really a whole lot I could manipulate as far as my physical training, diet, that sort of thing goes. Continue to eat healthy, run and exercise when possible. But when the comfort of a gym is taken away from you, I think one of the things that you can really rely on is being healthy. And there are guys here that are clearly fit, but didn't show up extremely fit, but might not have shown up as healthy as they could have been. And that, I think, your health when you come to selection, I think, play a bigger part of your success than your ability to max PT test. If you were at 80% of your ability, of your best, but you were healthy, I guarantee you would do far better than if you were at 100% of your fitness, but had a nagging injury, like your knee hurt or you had a bum hip or something like that. So the fact that I came in and feel healthy and was able to perform today and really push myself without having any sort of joint pain or anything to really worry about was encouraging to me, and I think bodes well for the rest of this process. As far as what's adding the most stress to you so far in the process, I think everybody gets nervous about public speaking. I have a lot of experience doing it because before this, I did some door-to-door sales way back in the day, and knocking on 2,000 or 3,000 doors in the summer probably got me a lot of confidence talking in front of people. That being said, when the pressure is higher and the stakes are higher and you are in an area where you care about the outcome, the pressure is obviously increased. And tomorrow we have an event which, in writing in itself is going to be a challenge of my communication skills. And, I have a theory, that will be met with, I don't know if animosity is the right word, but there'll be a harsh response to inadequate performance. And that's stressful in its own way, but it's also part of the process, and it's not a big deal. If other candidates are dealing with I think most people are dealing with very much the same stress here. There's not really anything unique about my situation that's kind of inherent in things like this, right? As far as who performed well today, I would say Charlie 3-2 has done a really good job of kind of organizing our side of the team. That being the Bravo detachment, not Bravo, the second half. And he's done a good job of implementing some really simple, almost pipelining SOPs that will help us stay more organized and be effective without, wasting, and will ultimately help save us time. And I think leadership from him was effective and good. And then as far as other people that I think stood out, Charlie 4-6, absolutely silent professional today, absolutely crushed it on the fitness assessment, and looked cool as a cucumber. So that's it. Looking forward to tomorrow. There's one thing I didn't say as far as what is adding the most stress. How am I dealing with it? I think one of the things that really helps me ground myself is to be grateful for the opportunity I'm given in the situation that I'm in. This is a place that I want to be. I know I want to be here. This is an event or a selection process that not only did I volunteer for, I look forward to, and I don't take that lightly, and it's cool. And I think as long as I keep that in my mind somewhere, floating around, that I can grab it when things get hard, having that little reset is like, no, man, I want to be here. This is something I want to do. That helps me bring in things like task-directed focus and, being able to execute and solve problems at a better level. So that's it for me tonight.
Charlie 4-1, how would you describe the experience you had today? I'd say overall I thought today went well. Maybe I had a little bit of struggles after the combine, but this morning went well. I thought it was good to start off with talking about our weaknesses, allowing everyone to be vulnerable up front, and like Mr. Free said, give into the process. You could tell from the intro brief that, especially this hotel phase, is going to be a fire hose of information and taskings. We're going to have to learn how to time manage, do priorities of work, and juggle all those taskings. After that, we went to the combine. I feel like I did pretty well at the combine. I'd be curious to see, my scores and all that, but I trained pretty hard for it and gave my all on each event and felt like I did pretty well. I'd say my training was definitely adequate for the combine. Afterwards, we did a group event, which we just ran through questions about ourselves. I feel like all that went well. I'd say for me, really, I think I could have eaten more food during the combine. I was starting to feel the effects of that after, and leading into the night. I'd say that's when things went a little tough, started to get a little migraine. But other than that, I feel like today went well. How did I perform today? What did I do well? What do I need to improve upon tomorrow? Again, I felt like I did well. I feel like I definitely gave into the process this morning. I was vocal. Definitely tried to be vulnerable. Again, combine, I felt like I did pretty well in that. Things I need to improve upon for tomorrow. I think I could be a little more proactive in helping 1-1 and leadership in terms of accountability, making sure guys are moving, get on the bus, head counts, things like that. I think that's something I could work on for tomorrow. If I could go back in time and prepare for what I did today, what would I do and why? I feel like I spent a good amount of time working on my weaknesses. but I feel like you could always work more on that. I did the psychological packet, and part of that was turning our weaknesses to strengths, but I think you could always spend more time working on your weaknesses. Maybe I could have gotten more feedback from my teammates on weaknesses. I say that's something I could have improved upon. Additionally, I think I needed to consume more electrolytes. I was good on eating food today, but I should have taken more electrolytes with me to the combine. I say that's something I could have improved on. What's adding the most stress to you so far in the process? How are you dealing with it? Are other candidates dealing with the same stress or something different? I'll be honest, the only real stressor right now I feel like is just physically feeling and headache, but that's something that I know just pounding some electrolytes tonight, knock out my tasks and getting some sleep will take care of. Overall though, I feel like I'm doing well. I'm doing what I said I was going to do in the process of being myself. I think giving my all at each event and doing that so far. Are other candidates dealing with the same stress or something different? I'd say candidates definitely are. You tell in the event tonight, guys were definitely feeling the effects of the combine. They were stretching, having to move around, pounding the electrolytes. Who performed well today? Call sign only. And what did they do that stood out to you? I'd say 4-2. I feel like he performed well today. He was someone I was talking to this morning, and I think he came here with a couple other TACPs, but he was willing to break off from that little clique and talk and meet with other people, showing high interpersonal effectiveness. Then today, I feel like he's been good to work with. He's like my team sergeant for my team, and he's pretty spot on. Someone I even through the first day I'm going to for bouncing things off of him. So I feel like other members on a Delta team would agree as well. I'd say Charlie 4-2 is doing pretty good.